Okay, well, welcome to another video on using Alexa skills. This time we'll see how we can trap out the Alexa skill timeout. You was probably aware that you only get about 8 seconds before the Alexa skill times out, and then you've lost your skill, any control from your skill at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to see how we can do this. This will be in Python, and what we're going to do is we're going to be able to trap the timeout out by using the async IO wait for command. So if you get there's the documentations on Python are here, and this is their example they give. So I'll just talk you through this example they give before we look to see how we'll do it with an Alexa skill. So what they've got here is they've got a skill here, function here. It's an asynchronous function that sleeps for an hour. And then they've got their main code, also an asynchronous function. We'll see that in a minute, why that is. And what it's going to do is it's going to call this, a wait on this call, async IO wait for, and it's going to call the eternity function, this first one waits for an hour, or if that doesn't respond, it's going to time out. And the whole thing, this main, is called from an async IO run command. So when you do any awaits in Python, they have to be in an async, and they can only be called by an async IO run. And if you run this code, you get a timeout printed. Currently, Alexa are only using Python version 3.9, so you have to use the async wait for command. In Python 3.11, there is an async IO timeout, and there's an example you might be able to use that when Alexa get around to using 3.11. Okay, so quick point, just remember async IO functions, or async functions, can only be called using async IO runs. You can't call them directly. So let's have a look at an example. I've created a new Alexa hosted skill I've got here, and we'll just talk you through it. And whenever you do that, just check that your skill invocation name isn't change me. Sometimes you end up with change me, and you need to check the or change the invocation name. I'll just check what this invocation name is. And I've still got long timeout, so that's all right. Okay, so I'll know how to call it. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to import some things. For this code, we would definitely need to import async IO, but for this code, I'm also going to time it, and I'm going to use the random function. So I've imported the other two, the time and the randoms as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a random task. This is going to run for a random amount of time, either 0, 1, 2, or 3 seconds. And so we've got, it's an async function, and we're going to await on the async sleep. So we're going to wait for that. Now, I set the timeout to true. So if we time out from this function, we'll return true, we timed out. Or if it actually executes this sleep and finishes, the timeout will be set to false and will return false. So timeout true is timed out, timeout false, which actually executed the code. And we're going to call this with the 2-second timeout using the async wait for again. So again, we're going to create an async def. I'm going to call wait for it. Going to wait for at most 2 seconds. So we'll see. I'll set the timeout true. I'm not sure I need to do this every time, but anyway. And we're going to call the timeout using this wonderful function, await async IO wait for, and then we're either going to, well, we're going to call our random time function up here, and we're going to call it timeout. If we time out, remember, we timed out, so timeout will be true. And as I said before, this has to be called from async IO run in the hello world intent. So we've done nothing, changed nothing from the hello world intent that the creation dev console was created. So we'll pass that timeout to that. So we're going to call it this using timeout async IO run, wait for it. So we do need to modify the hello world intent. I've added a ask, so it doesn't, it comes back to us, it just doesn't time out anyway. So I've said here, we can go round and round and round, say hello again and see if we time out. So the main function here is set the timeout to false. Again, I'm not sure I have to do that there because I'm going to change it anyway. And here's our timeout call. So what we're going to do is I'm going to time it. So I've got a start time and an end time. And then depending on the result back from the async IO run, we either time out and we'll say we timed out, or we don't time out and we say we completed the task. So what you can do now is you can trap out within your 8 seconds whether your task was completed or not. So there's the code. We'll save and deploy our code. I'm not going to bother doing that. I've already done it. So we'll test the code. If it's the first time you've run, remember you'll need to change this to development here. I've got it already, so I can say open long timeout.
Welcome. You can say hello or help. Which would you like to try?
And so if I say hello, we'll see whether we time out or not.
We timed out. It took 2 seconds.
Okay, let's try again, see whether we can run the code.
Task completed. We didn't
So,
time out.
depending on our random function, we either execute our code and we don't time out.
Task completed.
Or
we didn't time out.
Time out and we trap the
Task
timeout.
completed. We didn't time out.
See whether we can get another.
Task completed. We didn't
Sure we'll
time
be able to
out.
get another timeout here.
We timed out.
Okay, so we timed out.
It took 2 seconds.
Right, okay, so you can see sometimes we time out, sometimes we don't, but we'll be able to trap our code. And that's it, really. We can now prevent Alexa from just timing out and it's switching off our skill. The code is at the GitHub, a blatant plug for my book as well, if you like it. Then you can get this from the Lector score, and I'll put that link to that in the GitHub as well. So, okay, I hope that was useful to you, and keep watching for more videos.